again. I'm back. I'm ready for question time. I've just dropped Stevie back off. Just had to take him to the vets this morning to be vaccinated. Apologies for the nasaliness. It's not really a vibe. Hallie and I have had the worst cold this last few days. Hallie's obviously far worse than mine, and she's had conjunctivitis, so that's been fun. But we are here for Q&A. I don't know if I've already said, but a lot of the questions that I received on Instagram were motherhood, pregnancy, maternity related, so let's just dive right in. Question number 1, how did we tell our families we were having a baby? First and foremost, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer as to the time in which you tell your family and friends and the way in which you tell them. I know you can be, and I was an example of this, you can be suctioned into the things you see online about these big elaborate pregnancy reveal videos, but ultimately it's a lovely moment no matter how you do it. So we found out pretty early on that we were pregnant. For some people, which is myself, I just knew, like when I was one day late, you just know. Sorry for TMI. So we found out, and the little digital test thing actually said 1 to 2 weeks, so we were very, very early when we first found out. We were living with Josh's parents at the time, and they were actually on holiday that weekend, so it was just Josh and I at home. Nope, Josh was not with me when I did the test. I did it on my own and waited for him to come home. And then we chose to wait for a number of reasons, which I'm sure you can probably all guess, but we just chose to wait. And then I was burning money. I was burning money because all I was doing was buying pregnancy tests and checking daily, genuinely daily, sometimes twice a day, that I was still pregnant. Clear Blue and all of those different brands, they have most of my money. So obviously it's probably not a healthy way to start your pregnancy either. And it's financially not the best way to start a pregnancy off. We decided to book an early scan with window to the womb, I think they're called. We have one local to us, so we booked one, and we were told then we were about, I think it was like 8 or 9 weeks pregnant, and everything was okay. I had already pre-ordered on Etsy, I believe it was, little cards that said just a little note to say, and then as you open them up it said there's a baby on the way and the due date, not the due date, I think the due month. Which again, some people would see that as like jinxing fate or whatever the term is, but I'd ordered them and we went to our scan, and we already knew that when we were at that scan we would make our way to telling the parents. So it felt like a good time of year. We were just about to move out of Josh's mum and dad's house, and my mum had got a new job, and it was my stepdad's birthday, and various different things were going on that we had excuses to give them cards. So went to my mum's and we said, look, we've got you a joint new job happy birthday gift. My mum being my mum, and I knew it was going to happen. I'm pretty certain I even said to Josh in the car I knew it was going to happen. She handed the card straight to my stepdad and went, oh, you can open it. And I just thought, I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were. So obviously they opened theirs. That was all lovely. And then for Josh's parents, I believe we did it as a thank you for letting us live with you and save all our money so that we could afford to buy a house. And they'd actually gone out the night that we wanted to sit and tell them. They'd actually gone out, and we were just sat in their house waiting for them to come home, basically. It was the weirdest thing, because we were like, oh, it's getting late, are we going to do it, are we not going to do it? And I just said to Josh, look, they're your parents, so it's entirely up to you. So we waited, and they did come home, obviously, and we did do it, and they absolutely loved it. And then similarly, we went round to my dad's, and we didn't really have an excuse to give them anything. I won't lie, like there was no birthday excuse or anything like that. So we just said, oh, we bought you like a little card and some flowers to say thanks for doing a Sunday roast for us. No, oh, you don't need to do that. And anyway, they got the card and opened it up, and yes, all sets of parents. We have 3 sets of parents, 2 on my side, 1 on Josh's side. All parents were absolutely thrilled. At this point, we said to them, keep it to yourselves, we're not telling anybody else, which I believe for all parents involved, like, it was hard that we hadn't told our siblings, but we were just like, we're not ready. Like, we've had at this point like 6 weeks of just a 2-person bubble. We're now inviting you into this bubble, but we don't want the bubble getting any bigger. I don't really know the reason for that. I really don't know. But we decided not to tell our siblings just yet. So yes, that is question number 1. How did we tell our parents we were having a baby? Just a little card. And I think I've actually got a reel on my Instagram, I think, of how we told them. So yes, I'm now at Aldi, I'm going to do my food shop, and then we will do another question on the way home. Can I tell you? Cost of living crisis. Just been to Aldi for our food shopping. And if you know me and Josh, I know a lot of people will say this. But if you know me and Josh, we only eat healthy food. Meat, fish, veg, salad. And then anything else we get, whether it's yogurts or whatever else, is like the protein branded stuff. So I understand that that's more expensive. But that food shop, the bits we needed for Hallie were minimal. I needed some cowpole and I needed some nappies, which cost next to nothing, maybe a £5 together max. That food shop was astronomical, and genuinely, I have a small trolley and I'm looking at it and I'm like, everything I've got here is enough for lunches and dinners for 1 week. 1 week. And last week I really felt we were on the up. I'd done a food shop and it was a really good price and we had more than enough for the week. We didn't need to go out and buy like anything fresh, or it wasn't like I'd forgotten a whole cupboard's worth of food. So I thought, oh, we're like, you know, prices are leveling back out a little bit. Wow, how naive was I, because that was astronomical. Anyway, I will go home and eat my overly priced breakfast, which is croissants, by the way. Anyway, rant over. Question number 2 was, will you be going back to work full time? I don't know what the like what the cutoff for full time is. I'm gonna still say yes, because I think I work enough hours to qualify to count as full time, but I will be working 4 days. Not reduced hours. I know some people like, and I would imagine when you get to a certain age with schooling and stuff like that, you need to have reduced hours, as in you have to drop your children off for a certain time and pick your children up for a certain time, but we don't have that. So I will be going back to work for 4 days, which I'm going to class as full time. I'm going to class it. And technically Josh works far longer hours, and if you're watching this, Josh, obviously I'm just trying to make myself sound better. Technically Josh does 4 days. He does 4 very, very, very long days, but if you take the afternoons off that he has, that Hallie, it's technically 4 days. Anyway, obviously not. He works ridiculous hours, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I'm going back 4 days. Going back normal. What are my normal office hours for the company that I work for? Yes, so going back 4 days, I class that as full-time. Some people might not class that as full-time, but I'm going to take it as full-time. So that was question number 2. Or question number 2 that I've answered. I don't know what order I'm going to put these up in. Question number 3 was, how do you deal with feelings towards going back to work? Now, I think that was the question. I might have remembered that slightly wrong, so apologies if I have. I don't know if this question was aimed at my feelings, or the question was aimed at like Hallie's feelings and her developmental stage that she's in, because Hallie is in the stage where she's very much aware of who is who, and she knows who mummy and daddy are, and sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes she can get upset when we go. So Hallie is actually starting nursery about 10 days before I go back to work. And for those of you that have watched previous videos, you'll know that I actually started giving Hallie to my mum 1 day a week in the lead up to me going back to work, just so she gets used to being at different places with different people. So in terms of that, I think I've managed it quite well, in that there'll be like a transition period, and if within those first 10 days she's unbearably sad, which I really don't think she will be, there's the option for me to go and get her without impacting on my work too much. And I don't say that from like a negligent point of view, like, oh, I'm putting my work before my child, not at all. But I've just had 9 months off, and my work have been flexible in letting me go back for 4 days, which, believe it or not all businesses will let you do. And as well as that, I don't want to start messing people around and being like, oh, I gotta go, Hallie's upset. It's just part of me and who I am as a person. I don't like to let people down. I don't like to upset people. So it is just part of me as a person. Not that I think anyone will be upset with the fact that I am a mum and I have a 9-month-old who is upset about being in a new surrounding. Not at all. But I just wanted to make sure that I was fully readily available should Hallie need me whilst she first started nursery. So I think her feelings will be well managed. In terms of my feelings, controversial. I'm excited to go back. I'm excited to go back for a number of reasons. Obviously, I love my child. Please don't get that wrong by any stretch of the imagination. And if money was no object, I would not go back to work, and I would be with her every single day. But I would be able to do the things that would still develop her. I would be able to take her to all these different social interactions. I would be able to take her on holidays, do activities, go to clubs with her. Unfortunately, maternity pay in the UK is atrocious. And don't get me wrong, there are other countries that have it even worse. I understand that. But when you're used to taking home a certain salary and contributing a certain amount towards your bills, as all people on maternity or paternity know, to then have that drastically reduced, unfortunately, it does mean that some things come at a cost. So if money was no object, I would stay at home, and Hallie would be in every single club under the sun, doing every single lesson under the sun, meeting every single child under the sun. And I would make sure that she developed and thrived that way. But unfortunately, money is a thing, and we're in a cost of living crisis, so we're going back to work, and we're excited for routine. We're excited for adult conversations. We are excited to get up, get showered, get myself ready, and not just live in leggings and hoodies. And don't get me wrong, comfort is key, and I have loved it. But let's get yourself ready a bit more, Laura. Let's pull yourself together a bit more. I actually also really love my job. I've always loved my job. I love the people that I work with, and I'm lucky enough that the people that I work with, there are a number of them in similar situations to me. So there'll also be people with potentially sleepless nights or tantrums or regressions or just in the chaos of parenting that are completely on the same level as me. So it'll be nice to talk to people about that as well. And it'll just be nice to get a bit more structure for myself and push myself and see where I can go professionally as well. Again, that isn't for everyone. I understand that. But I am looking forward to go back. Will I be nervous? Absolutely, of course I will. I've not done that job for 9 months. But for me, my main feeling is excitement. So yes, I'm excited to go back to work. It is now 11:24, same day, still Monday. I've gone in, dropped the shopping off, unpacked the shopping, and I've actually had my lunch. I know what you're thinking, it's 11:24, Laura, and you've had your lunch. But I didn't have any breakfast, and I was starving like you wouldn't believe. And I just thought, pointless having breakfast now to come back and have lunch, or to not potentially want lunch, then have to wait for dinner. So I just had lunch. I've had lunch. If you've seen on my Instagram as well, I'm really struggling with dry lips, and I have been since before Christmas. And somebody mentioned to me about, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, the Laneige lip sleeping mask. I don't know how much they are, but when I did a Look Fantastic order before Christmas, I had some mini pots sent as samples. So I thought, I'm going to give them a go, and they're lovely. That one is berry fruits, that one. I've got like a vanilla one. I don't know, I got ridiculous ones, but lovely. Give that a go. Not sure if it's going to work. We're on day 1, so we'll see. Dog is back in the boot. We are going to go and walk him over the field, give him a good stretch. Normally we walk straight from the house, but as I've got a bit of time on my hands, I thought we would go to a field near us, which is far bigger. Okay, next on the question list, and I've not really thought about this one, so we could end up with another rant, or it could be a short one, who knows. But somebody asked me, what did nobody tell you before having a baby? And I think you've got to be very careful with how you answer this, because I certainly don't want to scare any pregnant people, and let me tell you now, there's nothing to be scared of whatsoever. I think what nobody told us is that it's okay if you feel like all you do the first 6, for us it was probably 12, 6 or 12 weeks is survive. If you just manage each day to eat, drink some water, ideally shower, but to be honest, it's not unheard of not to shower, and obviously take care of the needs of your child. If that's all you've done in the day, you've done way more than anyone could ever ask of you. I think, and that's not to scare anyone, it's just such a huge life adjustment. It's absolutely massive. Bit like when you move house, bit like when you get married. That things come that you didn't necessarily expect to happen, or you know, you're trying to factor in a small human now, and not just a small human, but a small human that solely relies on you. You know, they can't tie their own shoes, they can't go to the toilet on their own, they can't make their own sandwich for lunch, they solely rely on you. So I think my piece of advice would be, if the first 6, 12, 18, it doesn't matter how long, because everyone is so different, weeks, all you did was survive, claps to you, props to you, because honestly, that's all you need to do. And again, that's not to scaremonger in any way, shape or form. That's just personally how I felt. And as soon as somebody said that to us, and I don't even know who said it to us, I think it might have been our friends that had their baby just before us. As soon as somebody says that, a weight gets lifted, and genuinely you get to a certain marker, whether it be 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, and the fog lifts and you do a sigh of relief and you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. It makes sense now. Yeah, all you got to do is survive. Those first few weeks, all you have to do is survive. And if that's all you're doing, then that's more than enough. Secondly, nobody told me. I don't think it's not that anybody told me, but I think whilst we're on the advice situation here, my one piece of advice that I personally appreciated most was when people did stuff that had no connection to the baby. I don't want you to come over to my house to hold my child so I can go and cook my dinner. That might be rude of me to say. That might be really rude, so I apologise if people think that is rude. But for example, and this happened with multiple members of the family, so it's not, you know, only one size fits all. But for example, my brother came over once and he bought a curry with him, a homemade curry that he had made, bought it with him, came with his girlfriend at the time, now fiance. They bought the rice, they bought the poppadoms, they bought the naan breads, they cooked us a curry, and I think Georgia folded our washing and Danny mowed our lawn and emptied our bins. And without realising it, that was so much more helpful and more beneficial than anything anyone else could have done. And I understand that everybody wants to see the baby and hold the baby and everything else, but those little things that you don't even realise need doing that get done are so helpful. And again, it wasn't just my brother that did that, all of our close family did that. So that was just an example I was using. So yeah, I think you don't appreciate when somebody else does a small task for you that you would probably naturally do, like, you know, first thing in the morning every day, empty the dishwasher. But the fact that when somebody else does it, you're like, oh, you know, that's 5 minutes I got to myself. So I think that's important. And my last piece of advice, or the last thing that nobody told me that I would like to tell any pregnant woman and any expecting family, you just know. Like, you might ask yourself these questions like, how will I know what to do if? How will I know when they're hungry? How will I know how to change them? How will I know if they've got a cold? How will I know, in Hallie's case, if she's got tongue tie, if she's got CMPA? How will I know? And the answer to that, and genuinely the only answer that matters to that, is that you know. As a parent, you know. I stand by that Josh and I knew something was wrong with Hallie, and we pushed, and on 2 occasions we were right. We found out she was tongue tied and she needed to have it snipped, and also we found out that she was CMPA for a short period of time. You just know. You know your child. It's the weirdest thing on the planet, but the only way I can try and describe it is, it's like they're part of you. It's like just another part of your body. Just like if your tummy hurt, you'd know what to do. If your head hurt, you'd know what to do. You just know. So for anyone that's worrying about anything, just know that you will just know. You really, really will. And people like myself, perhaps, that are worried because, you know, they're big sleepers. I still am a huge sleeper. I'm not even going to use past tense. You know, I was worried. I was like, oh, how am I going to cope without sleep? How am I going to cope being up in the night? You just do. Hi, Stevie. You just do. It just happens. It is a magic power. I can't explain it any more than that, but something inside of us just clicks and it just happens. So I don't really know if that answers the questions, but I probably scooted off topic a little bit there. But yeah, that's what I would say to anybody. That's what nobody told me. They might have told me, I might have just not listened. But you just know. And on the final thing, one more thing, which is slightly ranty. Do not be the just wait people. Just wait till you're heavily pregnant. You'll be moaning that you're tired then. Just wait till they arrive and you're up all night. You'll be tired then. Just wait till you can't go running at the weekend because you've got a baby to look after. Don't be that person. Nobody wants to listen to it. Nobody. Nobody. There is not a single parent on this planet or expecting parent that wants to listen to that. And let them find out for themselves. Let them work it out for themselves. Everyone's parenting experience is solely individual. Let them find it out for themselves. And if they can work it, speaking from experience, if they can work it, that they have some form of childcare or a co-parent or a partner or whatever, and they can go for a run, do it. If they could do it, that they can go and see friends at a weekend, do it. Because you are still you before you're a parent. And to be the best parent, you have to be the best you. And it took me a very, 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 very long time to see that. And even still now, I will probably go, oh, well, I won't run because, you know, Hallie is down for a nap. But if she wakes up and I want to be here to help you. And people are like, no, go away. See you later. Goodbye. And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. You might get it on day one. You might get it on year one. But just don't be those people that say, just wait. It's annoying. And from my point of view, I don't like it. It's annoying. Don't say it. Nobody wants to hear it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how many times a day is Laura in her car? This is an abnormal amount. I am never in my car this long. I walk everywhere. Got to go to the post office, I'll walk there. Got to go to the shops to get something in, I'll walk there. Usually walk the dog straight from the house, but today, whoa, abnormal amount of time. So I'm just on my way to pick Hallie up from my mum's, and I thought I would just do a couple more questions. I did also put another Q&A box up on my Instagram because I specified that this would be more of a motherhood one, just to see if anyone changed their mind, and a couple of people did add some extra questions in, so here we are. Best and worst thing about being a mum. I don't think there is a worst thing. It certainly isn't anything I can think of. I think, you know, if we're going to get real deep and meaningful for a minute, you lose yourself a little bit. Or I did. You lose yourself a little bit and I became so consumed with everything I had to do revolved around Hallie that you forget who you were as a person. You forget, like, I don't know. For me, reading. Okay, reading. I love reading. I read books in days. And when she was first born, I didn't read for such a long time. And that's who I am. Like, that's my hobby. And then the second I found time, or the second I made time, I was saying to myself, you know, she's gone to bed now, let's get in the bath and read a book. Or she's down for a nap, there's no need to hoover for the third time today, let's sit and read a book. You start to come out your shell a bit more and you remember the things that you used to enjoy. And again, there's no time limit on that. That could take a couple of days, it could take a couple of months, it could take a couple of years, it doesn't matter. But I don't necessarily think it's a worse thing. I think it's part of the learning curve that you have to go through something to be able to find yourself again. And there's often like quotes on TikTok and Instagram that sort of say, whilst you're growing this whole new human and whilst you're bringing this little human up, sorry, you're also raising a new version of yourself, and you're no longer the, you know, Laura that likes to run, Laura that likes to go to the gym, Laura that likes to spend all her money on her own clothes, Laura that can go out when she wants to come back when she wants. You're changing, you're a new person. I don't think it's a worse thing, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think it's something that maybe I struggled with the most, and perhaps I wasn't prepared for. I will openly admit to that. So I think that would be it for me, is the fact that I didn't realise I would lose myself quite so much and not be able to get back to who I was quite as quickly as I thought. And there'll be a number of things that factor into that, but yeah, I think that would be it for me. And then the best thing, where do you even start with the best thing? She is my best friend, without a shadow of a doubt. Where do you start with that? Like, you've created this small human. Everything that they do is the best thing in the world. And it's true what people say, like, you know, they pick their nose and you're like, wow, my kid is the best nose picker in the whole entire planet. Or they, you know, I remember when Hallie was first born, she started to roll quite quickly, and instantly I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so advanced, she's so developed, she's gonna be Einstein, she's gonna, you know, she's gonna be the next Prime Minister. Everything that they do is just golden, quite frankly. They can do no wrong, and even when they do wrong, or, you know, when they get to that toddler stage perhaps, and, you know, they don't share or whatever, you'll still think they are the best thing since sliced bread. You always will. And each stage definitely gets better. Like, I used to say, like, Hallie first thing in the morning was my favourite stage. Then I would say, like, Hallie when she tries new food is my favourite stage. Then Hallie when you take her to a public place because she thrives off of other people is my favourite stage. And even, you know, the things that are slightly harder to deal with, Hallie when she's clingy and she only wants me, that's my favourite stage. I love to be that person. I'm like, pick me, take me, I'm here, I volunteer. That's like a favourite stage as well. So yeah, I just think everything that tiny human does is the best thing in the world, and it blows my mind that two people created her. Two people that, you know, I love Josh and all that, and I think he's the best thing since sliced bread, but her, she's way better than him. She's way better than him, and I don't even know where that comes from. But yeah, best thing, everything, every single thing. Every time she breathes is amazing. So yeah, everything is the best thing. Another question was, what will Hallie's routine be like when you go back to work? I think I spoke about this in another YouTube video that I did. Hallie will be at nursery a couple of days a week with my mum on a day and with me on a day. So she will get a lot of one-on-one attention, and she'll also be with Josh for a couple of afternoons. Apologies. She'll get quite a lot of one-on-one attention, but she'll also get the social interaction with other children, which I think is very, very important for their development. I do think it's very important. So yes, that is sort of what her routine looks like when we go back to work. So yeah, that is where we are at for now. I am back and I'm going to answer the last few questions now. I'm not sure if you can hear me, and I will try and turn the audio up on this clip, but my throat is really sore. I've got the washing machine on and the dishwasher on, so that definitely doesn't help. Another question I was asked, and probably the last question I'll do because I didn't actually want this video to be too long, but I have ranted on in a couple of the clips quite a bit, so I think it's going to be a chunky one. One of my followers messaged to say that they had just found out they were pregnant in their first trimester, really struggling with the tiredness. Firstly, obviously a huge congratulations. Secondly, the pregnancy tiredness is different. I remember when people used to say, oh, if you think you're tired now, wait till you have a baby. Personally, nothing was as bad as the pregnancy tiredness. I can't even explain it, but it takes over your whole body. Just rest when you can. If you don't have any other children or any pets or, you know, any care responsibilities, if you need to have a nap on your lunch break, which I often did when I worked from home, do it. If you need to have a quick nap after work, do it. I would still say maybe try and get some fresh air. Like sometimes a little walk around the block will make you feel a bit better. But these are just things that worked for me. I did often nap, but also I learnt the hard way, and falling asleep on the bed at 5 o'clock after work and not waking up till like 7, 8 o'clock, that's not helpful either. So I used to have little lunch break naps when I worked from home. Just take the rest that you need to rest. If you don't need to be up for anything in the morning or of a weekend, don't get up for anything in the morning or of a weekend. It really doesn't last long. Well, it certainly didn't for me, so I hope it's the same for you. But come the second trimester, you will feel like a new woman. Hopefully any nausea and sickness will be gone. Hopefully the tiredness will be gone. And there'll still be like a little bit of like a, oh, I mean, you are growing a human, but it won't be as bad as it is now. So keep going. Congratulations again. And hopefully you're nearing the end of your first trimester. But thank you all for the questions on motherhood. I am going to leave that here now, and I'm going to wrap this question up. Thank you all for checking in again. Please, obviously this one was more aimed at motherhood and pregnancy and returning to work from maternity. So if you do have any friends that are pregnant or returning to work from maternity or new mums or anything like that, please send it to them. And yeah, please send them to my Instagram because I'm always doing stuff with Hallie on Instagram. But thank you ever so much for checking in and watching this video and taking the time, and hopefully I will do another Q&A soon, which will just be more about who I am and why I'm here. But yeah, thank you ever so much guys, and I'll see you next time.